My oh my oh my oh my, look at these jellies. Oh my gosh, what absolutely perfect little specimens here. Look at that wobble. Good afternoon. I am out in my local woodland today foraging for some jellier mushrooms because I want to be dehydrating quite a lot when they're in their prime at this time of year. You can find them all year round, but this time of year they seem to be in abundance in this little spot. So I'm going to be harvesting quite a lot to take home and dehydrate, ready for my retreats at the end of April. So I know the ones in this spot here get quite big, so I'm only going to take the fairly mature ones and I'm going to leave the little ones to get much bigger and come back for those in a week or so. But you can see why they are called jellier, can't you? Look at them. This little spot here is absolutely amazing for them. So my little spot around here as well, it's not only got lots of jellier down here, but it's also amazing for coal fungus. And I'm not going to harvest any of this today because I haven't really got a suitable container to take it home in. But what I'm going to do is come back and harvest a few of these so I can use it for my fire lighting over the year. I just found some Exidia glandulosa, or black witch's butter, down here, and this is actually an edible mushroom. You can use it in much the same way as jellier mushrooms. Chuck them in stir fries, or you can dehydrate them and then rehydrate them in a marinade or a sauce. They don't have much of a flavour themselves, but they do take on quite a bit of flavour. But I don't tend to harvest these really for eating because I don't find them as much as the jellier, and I find them a little bit messier to harvest as well. Jelliers seem to come off quite nicely, and these pull apart and then make your foraging bags and baskets quite messy. So I tend to leave these ones and just harvest the jellier. So I've managed to collect quite a lot of jellier on my little walk in this bag so far. So I'm going to leave these witch's butter here. So I've just found some dock seed still hanging onto this plant, and you can make a really great flour out of dock seed. It doesn't have any gluten in it, so it's kind of more of a flour additive rather than an actual flour substitute. But it's pretty tasty nonetheless, and it does bulk out your flour mixes quite nicely. So this is a nice little patch down here with lots of different plants. We've got cow parsley here, which is not a beginner's plant because it can look very, very, very similar to poison hemlock, especially at this age when you can't really see very much colouring come through on the stems. So yeah, unless you are a bit of a more experienced forager or you do know the Apiaceae family quite well, then I would suggest leaving cow parsley alone. But you can give it a little bit of a smell, a crush and a smell, and it should just smell pretty similar to your cultivated parsley. Poison hemlock has got a bit of a gross smell to it. So next door to that, we've got some wood avens. These little leaves here that look a little bit like strawberry leaves. These are wood avens, and you generally eat the roots, but you can eat the leaves as well. Give them a quick blanch, and it kind of gets rid of that little fuzzy, hairy texture on the tops of the leaves. But these are really, really nice, the roots. I would harvest these pretty soon because once it starts sending up its flowers and its new growth, the roots won't be as good. So next to that as well, little hogweed shoot. Look at that, little baby hogweed shoot coming up. And again, this is part of the Apiaceae family, so if you don't know your carrot family very well, then I would suggest doing a little bit more research before harvesting hogweed, although it is a fairly easy plant to identify. And then just over a little bit, we've got lots and lots of sorrel, and this is a delicious plant, especially at this age when all the leaves are quite young and fresh. But this has got a very, very lovely citrusy kind of zesty flavour. And I'm sure if you've seen many of my other foraging videos, you'll see that I harvest this most months because it is a great little plant and you can find it pretty much all year round. How exciting is this sign? Look at all of these little wild garlic shoots. Still too baby to pick yet, but very exciting. Can't wait for wild garlic season. It is the best. Oh, I think I can see some bigger ones down here. Let me go and have a look. So I am in Sheffield, so wild garlic season, or actually the season for most plants, is a little bit later than around some of the rest of the country. But I'm actually originally from Kent. I've been in Sheffield for about 12 years now, but I am originally a southern fairy. You might have guessed from my accent. But that just means I've had to get used to the later seasons of everything since I've moved up here. So I was used to getting my wild garlic around this time, usually harvesting it around now when I'm down in Kent. But up here, I've got to wait for a few more weeks. Yeah, so on this sunny bank, you can see that they're all a little bit bigger. Still, I wouldn't pick them at this size. I would still wait for them to get much larger. But how exciting is that? Another little cluster down here. Yay! How about your wild garlic patches? Have you got some wild garlic growing near you yet? And if so, whereabouts are you based? A little patch of lords and ladies down here that I've just spied, and you can see that when they're very, very young, the little unfurled leaves can look somewhat similar to the young shoots of wild garlic. They have this little sheath at the base similar to the wild garlic leaves when they pop up, but as they unfurl you can see that they've got this big split at the base of the leaf, this fishtail here. It's kind of like an arrowhead shaped leaf, and that is a very distinctive feature of the lords and ladies. And to double check, you can see this kind of border of a vein around the edge of the leaf. That's another telltale sign of this plant. But you want to stay clear of this when you're foraging for wild garlic. Don't be too hasty when you're picking, and make sure that you're checking each leaf, because this is a bit of a nasty plant. It can cause quite serious irritation to your mouth, your throat and your stomach as well. This is lords and ladies once it gets a bit bigger. These are the seeds from the fireweed, and I don't know if I can open it up with one hand to show you, but you can see all the seeds inside, and this is excellent tinder. I've just come to check my Japanese knotweed spot just to see if I can see any little baby shoots coming up. It is a little bit early, but you never know, do you? So I've just come for a little check. So Japanese knotweed shoots are edible, and you can spot them by just looking out for the big old sticks from the previous year and then looking around the base. And I can't see any little shoots starting to, oh no, there's some little baby shoots coming up right down there. So maybe a few weeks and I can harvest some Japanese knotweed. Super invasive plant, so you can harvest as much as you like. Just check around here. So I can't see it. So I don't know if you can see, but down there, where is it? That tiny little red dot there is the shoot of the Japanese knotweed, and soon they'll grow up into little shoots, a little similar to rhubarb. It tastes quite similar to rhubarb, the sourness of it just without the sweetness. But yeah, this is a huge patch of Japanese knotweed on this little roadside here. So I'll be back here in a couple of weeks. All of the Hazel Catkins are great to harvest at the minute, and these make a pretty cool little flower additive. I usually toast these and pop them on top of cereals and yogurts and stuff, but I saw UK Wildcrafts put them in the oven and roast them. I've never tried roasting them, so I think I might give that a go and see if it changes the flavour from toasting. But yeah, these are pretty cool little edible catkins from the hazel tree.